Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. In this video, we will explore fascinating psychological facts that will not only surprise you, but also help you better understand human behavior, including your own. These insights can help you improve your relationships, increase your productivity, and boost your confidence. Get ready to see the world in a completely different light after watching this video. Number 1. First impression. The first impression effect is a psychological phenomenon where the initial information we obtain about a person strongly influences our overall perception of them. This effect is often so powerful that subsequent information, even if it contradicts the initial impression, carries less weight. The reason for this is that the human brain tends to quickly and efficiently sort and categorize information, leading to rapid conclusions. A first impression is formed within a few seconds and is influenced by various factors such as appearance, body language, manner of speaking, and more. This effect can be very significant in many areas of life, such as job interviews, social interactions, or business negotiations. It is important to be aware of this phenomenon to avoid making hasty judgments and to give people a chance to show who they really are. In practice, this means being more open-minded and critical of our own initial judgments. Number 2. Dunning-Krueger effect. The Dunning-Krueger effect is a cognitive bias where individuals with low levels of ability or knowledge in a certain area overestimate their own skills and competence. This effect was first described in 1999 by psychologists David Dunning and Justin Krueger. It is based on the idea that people lacking experience or competence do not have enough awareness to recognize their own shortcomings. This leads to an illusory superiority, where they believe they are more competent than they actually are. Conversely, competent individuals often underestimate their abilities because they understand how complex the area is and how much they still do not know. The Dunning-Krueger effect has significant implications in various fields, including education, where it can lead to people not paying enough attention to improving their skills because they mistakenly believe they are already competent enough. Recognizing this effect is important for personal and professional development. Understanding that one's abilities may be skewed can lead to a more open approach to learning and self-reflection, which subsequently improves actual skills and competence. Number 3. Bystander effect. The bystander effect is a social psychological phenomenon where the presence of a larger number of people in a crisis situation reduces the likelihood that someone will help the victim. This phenomenon was first studied by John Darley and Bibb Latané in 1968, inspired by the murder of Kitty Genovese in New York in 1964. During this incident, dozens of witnesses allegedly took no action to save the victim. The bystander effect is often explained by the diffusion of responsibility, where individuals think that someone else will intervene, which reduces their own sense of responsibility. Another factor is social influence, where people observe the reactions of others, and if no one responds, they assume that intervention is not necessary. Studies show that the bystander effect can be overcome if people are aware of its existence and if individual responsibility is clearly assigned. This phenomenon has significant implications for understanding human behavior and for strategies to increase aid in emergency situations. Number 4. Mirroring. Mirroring, or mimicry, is a psychological phenomenon where we unconsciously imitate the behavior, movements, gestures, or body language of those around us. This behavior has evolutionary roots and serves as a tool for social cohesion and empathy. For instance, when we see someone smile, we often smile ourselves without being aware of it. This process helps create a sense of friendship and understanding between people. Mirroring can be used to build and strengthen relationships. If we intentionally mimic the behavior of another person, such as their tone of voice, speech pace, or nonverbal gestures, it can lead to a higher level of mutual understanding and trust. It is important that this imitation is subtle and natural to avoid being perceived as mockery or insincere. Mirroring also promotes empathy. When we imitate the behavior of others, we better understand their emotions and thoughts. This phenomenon is often used in therapy and coaching, where therapists and coaches use mirroring to create a safe and supportive environment for their clients. In everyday situations, mirroring can improve communication and collaboration, whether in personal or professional contexts. Number 5. Planning fallacy. Planning fallacy is a cognitive bias where people systematically underestimate the time required to complete tasks, even when they have previous experience with similar tasks. This phenomenon was first described in 1979 by Israeli psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky. The main cause of the planning fallacy is optimistic bias, where people overestimate their abilities and underestimate obstacles and unexpected events. They also tend to ignore past experiences that could provide a more realistic estimate. To avoid the planning fallacy, you can use several strategies. The first is the reference class method, which involves using data from past similar projects to estimate time requirements. The second strategy is breaking the task into smaller parts, which are easier to estimate and less prone to underestimation. The third strategy is adding time buffers to each plan for unexpected complications. The fourth option is external evaluation, where you ask an unbiased person to estimate the time needed to complete the task. By using these strategies, you can significantly reduce the risk of underestimating the time needed to complete tasks and increase your efficiency in planning. Number 6. Halo effect. The halo effect is a cognitive bias where our perception of one positive or negative trait of a person influences our overall assessment of their personality and abilities. This phenomenon often starts with a visual impression, particularly appearance. People tend to assume that attractive individuals possess other positive qualities such as intelligence, competence, and friendliness. This effect can lead to unfair advantages for attractive people, for example, in job interviews or performance evaluations. The halo effect is not limited to appearance. It can also be triggered by other traits such as voice, clothing, or initial behavior impressions. The consequences of the halo effect are extensive, from social relationships to the professional sphere. It can influence judicial decisions, educational evaluations, and even healthcare. Recognizing and being aware of the halo effect can help us become more objective and fair in our assessments of others. Number 7. Confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is a cognitive phenomenon where people prefer information that confirms their existing beliefs and ignore or devalue information that contradicts them. This bias significantly influences how we interpret reality and make decisions. Our expectations can shape reality by selecting only the information that suits us, thereby reinforcing our initial beliefs, regardless of objective facts. Confirmation bias can have negative impacts in various areas, from personal relationships to political decisions. For example, in discussions, people often seek out articles and studies that support their view, thereby reinforcing their sense of truth. This leads to societal polarization and hinders open and constructive exchange of ideas. To avoid confirmation bias, it is important to actively seek out and consider different perspectives. We should strive for critical thinking and be open to changing our opinions based on new information. Practical steps include reading a wide range of sources, engaging in discussions with people who hold different views, and reflecting on our own biases. This way, we can achieve a more balanced and objective view of the world. Number 8. Overgeneralization. Overgeneralization is a cognitive bias where our mind exaggerates and creates patterns where none exist. This phenomenon occurs when we make broad and inaccurate conclusions based on limited information or experiences. For example, if we experience a few negative events, we might start believing that we will always fare poorly. Such bias can influence our decision-making and perception of the world around us. Overgeneralization can have negative consequences in both personal and professional life. It can lead to pessimism, reduced self-esteem, and limiting one's own opportunities. For instance, after several unsuccessful job applications, a person might start believing they are incapable of finding employment and stop trying. To avoid overgeneralization, it is important to recognize and reassess our thought patterns. We should focus on specific situations and avoid generalizing based on limited experiences. Keeping a journal where we record both positive and negative events can help us gain a more realistic perspective on our experiences. This way, we can better understand and control our thought processes and make more objective decisions. Number 9. Cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is a psychological phenomenon that occurs when there is a conflict between our actions and beliefs. This state generates unpleasant feelings such as stress, anxiety, and inner tension. When we act in ways that contradict our beliefs or values, the brain tries to resolve this inconsistency. To cope with cognitive dissonance, we often change our opinions, justify our behavior, or minimize the significance of the conflict. For example, a smoker might reduce dissonance by downplaying the health risks of smoking or by finding information that supports their habit. Coping with cognitive dissonance is crucial for maintaining mental well-being. Being aware of this phenomenon helps us better understand our reactions and improve our ability to resolve internal conflicts. Number 10. Positive thinking. Positive thinking is a concept that suggests a positive attitude can profoundly impact our health, happiness, and success. When we think positively, we can better manage stress and challenging situations, leading to improvements in both our physical and mental health. Studies show that optimists have a lower risk of heart disease, a stronger immune system, and greater resilience to depression. Positive thinking also fosters creativity and productivity, which can enhance our work performance and lead to greater success. Additionally, we spread positive energy to those around us, which can improve our relationships and social life. Practicing gratitude, affirmations, and mindfulness are techniques that can help us develop positive thinking. Overall, a positive approach helps us live a fuller and happier life, both personally and professionally. We hope you enjoyed the video and that these psychological facts gave you a new perspective on the world. Think about how you can apply these insights in your life. If you liked the video, give us a like and subscribe so you don't miss any more interesting content. Thank you for watching.